Hi, it's Nancy welcoming you to Gardens Grow. I'm seeing some definite signs of spring, and yet we're going to have below freezing temperatures tonight. And then I think again next weekend, or the end of next weekend, first of the following week. But I am hoping that they do not last very long, and that they will still let all this beauty remain here until, of course, these pretty yellow buds will drop off and the green ones will come for the rest of the year and be back again next spring. We still need to take down our pampas grass, and that's for maybe this coming week we might do that, or I may wait until that next foreseen cold comes along. This is the pretty flowering quincy, and I think I've already shown it to you, but I don't know if it was quite this full of bloom. And you can tell right behind it there is the flowering almond, but it may, I don't know if it'll get this. I hope it doesn't nip it in the bud, because you can tell it's just beginning to get to that point where it's going to burst out and be full of these beautiful pink blooms. But I wanted to get all that one more time for you, just in case our cold spell does take it away. But of course I'm hoping it doesn't. One of my sisters and our mutual lifelong friend are already planning to go to the nurseries. We've got us a date set. It's not until April, but it won't be that long now before we'll be filling these little pots up with annuals from the nurseries. And I also noticed that the hostas, some of the hostas are up and looking great. And because we are going to have that dip below freezing tonight, and another one more time at least, maybe more than that, and these sedum are looking so good. I may come out here and cover some of this with plastic just to give it a little added protection. Also, I noticed that this green in this pot is a bleeding heart, and it even has little buds right there. So I'm hoping that it makes it through to bloom and be beautiful. And while a few of my hostas are coming up, you can even see right here that this one is coming up, but a lot of them are not yet. So actually that may be good. These may do better because they're not quite ready yet, and when they do get ready, maybe our weather will stop going back and forth so much. Then we just have to worry about the heat coming on so strong and staying, which hopefully that won't happen either. We'll see. But I'm ready for these beautiful dianthus to be in bloom. This one is really looking bad. I need to trim all that old stuff off of it and give it a chance. But right now is probably not a good time to be doing that either, because we don't want to do some that's going to just leave it vulnerable and open for the cold. This little plant that's already up and going is a blue flax. And because we're going to have some more cold weather, I went ahead and put some poppy seeds in here. I don't know if they will make it, but they do need a cold period, so maybe this will be the cold period they need to get them ready for budding out, sprouting up, budding out, and being beautiful. And these little plants you're seeing that are already green are the bells of Ireland that came up from last year, and I'm so hoping the cold doesn't get them and that they will be there for the rest of the season. I can even, because they're too thick in this part, I can even maybe get some of these and put in other areas. My forsythia in the back is also looking great, and if you'll look up, you can see that the weeping willow is beginning to leaf out. And this is the part that I've been cleaning out, is from that fence, which we did have cleaned out, but from this little area all in here. And I do lack a little bit of it because I was finishing it up when our rains came. So that's great. I'm grateful for the rain. And I'm going to go ahead and get some of this off. I don't know if I'll do all of it. I don't want to leave anything bare for the cold tonight that's going to be headed our way. But I think some of this stuff will make it, and hopefully, you know, it's just for a night. It's going to get pretty again, and then the cold will be back again. So some of that cold and then hot can get rough on the garden, but it also helps it to stratify. So I'm just going to have to leave that up to God and do the best I can to get things in sync with what He's doing as well. Look at these coming up. Don't they look great? This is the sedum. Both of are different types of sedums. In this little pot, I probably need to put some sedum in it too. I had an annual in it last year. But you may remember how this looked just the other day when I showed you how much I needed to clean out. Well, all that is cleaned out now, and that is so great. Of course, from the, oh, let's see, how would I tell you, from this little bird bath planter all the way over to the building, and in front of it and behind it, all still needs to be cleaned out. But we're getting there slowly and surely. We got this pampas grass taken down yesterday, there and right here. And I'm actually going to try to put some root kill on part of this and kill part of it out. It's just getting too big. So hopefully that will work without killing the other half. The quince is still looking great. And the flowering almond is open even more. Not more than the quince, but more than it was the last time I showed it to you. The forsythias are still looking good. I can see though that some of the green, let's see if I can get it where you can see it too. And the sun's in my eye, so I can't really tell, but there's quite a bit of green coming on it now. So it won't be long before all this beautiful yellow will be replaced by the green. So I'm going to enjoy it as much as I can. And I did get my little angel painted and back out here where she belongs. And my little depicting innocence angel, I got her sitting back up in her little pot, and it won't be long till we'll be filling these pots out with flowers and pretty colors. And some of my clematis has taken off and gone all the way up its trellis and at the top part of it, and it won't be long till it puts some buds on. We had a doctor's appointment today, but I also stopped at a Lowe's and purchased another little hanging basket for this so that I can put it up, and hopefully it'll last as long as this one lasted. Of course, some of the clematis is barely getting green at all, but if you keep looking, you'll see that this one does have some green. But last night I stayed out long enough to get all of this along this back fence cleaned out, and there was still some weeds growing over here on this side that I also got cleaned out. So I did quite a bit of work yesterday, even though I didn't have time to do anything today. But before I went in yesterday, knowing that I didn't have today to work in the garden, and maybe not tomorrow. Hopefully I'll get back out here Thursday, but right now, last night I did go ahead and clean all this back fence row out, and this part over here that had just some weeds. I'd already actually cleaned it out except for some of the weeds and the hen bit that I didn't get that first time around. But over on this side we have daylilies and peonies coming up, and some of them may need to be replaced or maybe not. Let me see as I look around. I'm pretty sure there are some areas where it does need some replacing. Maybe this may be one, although I do have some clematis. It looks like two maybe different clematis are trying to come up there. Now here's an area that looks like it may have lost whatever was there, which was probably a peony. So yes, I definitely do need to transplant some over here, and I will plan to do that. I may even want to purchase a few more peonies, or if I don't get to this year, I can just move some. You can tell this one is spread out enough that I could move some, but I would like to have different varieties. This area was totally full of weeds, mostly henbit and some grass. So I did clean it out. I was so tired, and it was beginning to get dark, but I thought the ground is still damp, so it would be much easier to do it now than it would be to wait until the ground is all dry. So I did go ahead and do this. And, you know, even as much as you hate doing it, you feel so glad you did when you get it done. And that's as far as I got on the cleaning, because just right next to it, it just still, everything needs to be cleaned out. So hopefully I will get to that the last part of this week, and hopefully most of next week I'll get to work in the garden and get more of it done. I'd love to get it all done, but we'll just have to go as I'm able and as I have time to work out here, and just get it done as soon as possible. Today I can feel the heat out here. I mean, I actually had to go in and I had a little jacket over, or not even a jacket, just a sheer shirt actually, but I took that off because it's just so hot. Look at this. Here's a little tulip in bloom. Today is March the 15th, and I thought I'd take a few pictures just to show you what spring looks like. And of course, here in Oklahoma, we had many variations of spring. We were lucky because we've had, I think, 3 dips down below freezing, but only for a short while. And so we had been able to keep our pretty forsythia, our pretty quince bush, and now the flowering almond is all bloomed out, and soon the redbud will be. They're already open enough you can see the pretty colors. I have most of my plastic off, but some of the glass ones I do not, and even some of the resin where I haven't cleaned out any yet, I haven't taken them off. So, but so much is greening up. The roses are looking great. This is catmint. Look how full and pretty it's looking. And then I'll put some other little plant right here on top of it just to top it off for beauty. And we'll be ready. This is a little lilac bush, but it's not the purple or mauve colored lilac. It's actually, I can't remember. I couldn't make up my mind between white or yellow. They both were so pretty to me. So honestly, it'll be a surprise when we get it. I think it's yellow, but it could just as well be white. So when it does bloom, we'll find out. And I went ahead and got these yesterday. Look at these beautiful calibrachoa or mini petunias. I'm learning. See, you know, I always call it calibrachoa, and I'm sure I'll slip and do that again, but I keep hearing people call it calibrachoa. CH, you know, when I learned how to read, the CH was like church, the CH, so I still do that. But these looked so good, I hated to miss out on them. I think this is a brand new color for this year. I saw on Proven Winners it is, and I don't know if this is one of the Proven Winners. It doesn't say that on its little tag. But I hope it'll do great. And of course I love this bright yellow. I love this pretty bright pink and wine with a yellow throat. And then I love this pretty little double purple. But this one is not as healthy as far as it's all on that one little thing, and if it should lose it, it'd probably lose all of it. It's kind of leggy looking, but I went ahead. I thought, well, while I'm getting these, I may as well go ahead and get that one. It's so pretty. So we will see what they will do. And I know that we are, in our forecast anyway, there is another forecast for a freeze Sunday night and Monday morning. So these will come inside. I'm not planning on planting them anywhere just yet, but I'll have them, and that way if they should, sometimes they even freeze out or get nipped where they're never quite as pretty, even in the nursery. So I thought, well, I'll go ahead and I'll take these in and I'll have a start, which may be all I get. I'm not that good with calibrachoa, even though I want to be. I love this little plant. It does not like our hot summers, for one thing. I had some more daffodils to bloom. Some are the little miniature daffodils. And for me, it takes forever to clean everything out. So I do have everything in the front pretty much cleaned out except this side. And I'm going to wait until after that next freeze, because these have little leaves blown all in there, and they're protecting this sedum somewhat, and I hope it will go ahead and live for me. One year, I'm sure I told you, but I had to replace each one of them with some I have in another area in the garden, because these are just little tiny pots. They're not very deep, and so they do need some protection even though they are perennials. And oh wow, look. The bleeding heart is all blooming and looking great. I hope we don't lose this. Maybe I'll even cover this one with a old plastic tablecloth. Maybe we'll save it for one night, I hope. And right in front of it there, you can see the hosta has came on up. I'm anxious to get all the old dead stuff off so I can really enjoy my hostas as they're coming up. I'm sure I need to take this plastic off, but it is getting, oh, there's a weed, let me pull that out. But it is getting some air, so they're okay, and I think they're safer right now with that on them than if I took it off. You can tell they're not doing so good here, but hopefully there is still some there that will live. But I will take that off. I'm still going to wait a while. Just wait a little while longer on those. I'm anxious, but I don't want to be too anxious that I don't give them the best chance I can. Oh, look at this little pot right here. That is more of the bells of Ireland coming up. I'm so glad. For such a long time I didn't get them where they were, I don't know, prevalent enough or had enough soil that didn't have some of my weed control fabric on it, which I love the weed control fabric. I just do. A lot of people say they don't really care for it and that it just doesn't do that much good for them anyway, but for me, I cannot imagine cleaning out all of this without any on there, because there's plenty weeds and grass that come up unwanted anyway, and so with this it does help a lot. Look at this peony reaching for the sky. It won't be long, the peonies are blooming, but it'll be a little while longer. And I'm anxious to get things filled up. We had a doctor's appointment one day this week, and we stopped at Lowe's and I got some seed. I just love it that I found several of the seeds I really wanted. I found the, oh gosh, what's the cardinal? The red vine that has the bean, and it's not called cardinal climber, but I did get some of that too. I love that little plant too that climbs and has a little red bloom on it. So I forget some of the simplest words, but I went inside and I'm going to show you what I got. So easy. I don't know how anybody could forget it, but I'll forget it again. But it's called Scarlet Runner Bean, and I've been looking for these for a long time. Every year I try to find them. I had them one time, but the roly-polies and snails got at the bottom of them and just took them out. But I'm going to try again. These are beautiful blooms on this, and I have a bean pole in the back, which I've never had it to fill out and look really pretty, but I'm going to try again. I got some hyacinth beans on it at one time, but then they tried to take over, so I don't want something quite that aggressive, but I think these are beautiful. And then I got some more alyssum, because I love alyssum, and if you can get it to last through that heat of summer, it picks back up and goes and does wonderfully in the cooler part of fall. I also got some snapdragons. I don't do well with these, and the same reason, because they like cooler weather, but lots of times they will either make it through the heat or make a seed that will open the next spring and just plant itself from seed. I have absolutely no luck with these canterbury bells either, unless I can find some already started for me. But again, I'm going to try. I love these. They're so reminiscent of my youth and when they used to be called cup and saucer plant. My mother called them that, and so that's what I call them too. And I keep dropping these, but this is another alyssum. And I also got some of the white alyssum also, and it's in a box. I didn't bring it out to show you, and this is forget-me-not, and I'm not quite sure the difference in the perennial forget-me-not. I don't think I've ever had any perennial forget-me-not, so I thought I'm going to try that. And then I also got the annual forget-me-not, which I know is very pretty. It's actually a prettier blue than it shows in this picture, which is often true. The pictures are not always as brilliant as or as true to color as the actual flower is. And then this is the cardinal climber I was telling you about, and it's got little tiny ferny looking foliage, which is pretty, but it's those bright screaming look at me flowers, little red flowers that really steal the show. And then both of these are phlox. These are the annual phlox, and my friend and classmate told me about these. I didn't know they had an annual tall phlox, or this is annual dwarf, but they're not the ground cover. They're a pretty little flower. I planted some last year, but I got them in too late, and they made a little green, but they didn't go ahead and grow up and flower. But I'm hoping these will this year, and I think they're going to be very pretty. And looks like I dropped one more that I didn't realize I did, but this is a delphinium, and the same with it. I never have been able to get these started, but I'm going to try again. The only way I get these in my garden is to go ahead and buy one already started for me. And then you'll notice it says perennial, and I one time got one to come back for 1 year, and then it died. So these are not, they have not been perennial for me. That does not mean they're not perennial. And I'm going to keep trying, because I would just love to get these started from seed and have several of them everywhere. So I think that's a great start for spring. We've had the lovely bushes and some of the trees, and hopefully it won't freeze them out and they'll keep going. And in my, in my dreams, I'm thinking that it'll just be another short, not long-lasting freeze that won't take anything out, and we'll just keep on going from there. And I hope that's the way it is, but I know that not all my dreams come true. But look, some of them do, or we wouldn't have these lovely spring bushes in bloom. And another sad thought is, and it's true, that we could easily still have another freeze after the one that's coming up. So I'm hoping that's not the case, but we'll just have to go with what we get. Look at this little peony. It has buds now. So definitely hoping it doesn't take this out. Maybe another thing I should cover. The quince is already losing most of it. Well, not most of it at all, but lots of its flower has gone ahead and turned to green, and it will soon be just a little green bush for the rest of the season. But such a welcome to have one in the spring. And this is one of the little dianthus that returned for this year, and look, it's beginning to have some color on it. And I love this little thundercloud sedum. I'm so glad I found it, because sometimes you just need a small sedum, because there's a Xerox plant. You don't have to have a whole lot of water. They just keep going when everything else doesn't. They even have blooms in the fall. And it's just a pretty little mound of green when it's not in bloom. And they come back every year, even in pots. This is a small pot inside a bigger pot. So, and they just look lovely. This is one of the regular sedum. And this, in this tiny little pot right here, is another of the thundercloud sedum. And this is the area I cleaned yesterday evening. And I got all the old dead stuff and debris out, and it's just looking good. Actually, I thought I had this fixed where it wouldn't, my little pot wouldn't tilt over, because I put these up around it, but you can see it's still tilted some. Let me see if I can get her up there a little bit straighter. I'm still going to have to figure out something to do. I thought about putting something around it, but I'm just not sure what. If you have any ideas, let me know. So I was hoping these would hold it, but they're not seeming to quite hold it, but it's better. But I only got this far, so you can see that I'm started right down here, and I will try to get some more of that done today. Tomorrow we have some other obligations we have to take care of, So I don't know, it'll be next week probably before I can do very much in the garden, but so much needs to be done still. It'll still be a long time. I always wish I had an army to come out and clean it in one day, or at least in 1 week. That would be so great, because it takes so long to clean it all out. But one day we'll get there. And then, of course, the next thing we want to do is fill it up with beautiful flowers and lots of colorful foliage. I also noticed that I have a few more tulips right here, which is great. I don't have a lot of tulips because rodents take these out for me. When I can figure out how to save them from the rodents, I'll try some more though, if that should ever happen, because I have tried so many things. You know, they say age is just a number, but for some reason it seems like there's other things to take in consideration, because I know that I used to come out here in the morning, stay out here except to eat a quick bite for lunch, come back out and go back in after dark. And now there's no way I can do that. I would just faint out here if I tried it. So, you know, time catches up with us evidently. These, of course, are more of the little thundercloud sedum in all three of these pots. I have not cleaned them out yet, as you can tell, so they'll look much prettier when they get clean. And I'm thinking I may put some of those calabrachoa here in this pot. Today is March the 19th, the first day of spring on the calendar, and I am getting close to that happy day when the garden is all cleaned out. I haven't made it yet, and I may not make it by the time the day's over. Most likely not quite, but it will be close. I do still lack this one side of the house, getting my pots in this little area cleaned out. And we still have had some cold nights when it dropped really close to or even below 32 degrees. So there's still a lot remains to be done, but it won't take too awfully much longer, hopefully, if I can feel like doing it. I've definitely had some bouts of fatigue and low and high blood sugar and high blood pressure. So, but you know, it's beginning to feel doable now. And we haven't lost some of these little ones that I was hoping we'd get to keep. So I'm going to keep hoping, although our safe day, as they say, when it's the chances of having a freeze are practically gone. Of course, they're never totally gone, but they're usually, they say, the 15th of April for our area. So hopefully it won't be long now, and maybe we'll even be lucky enough not to have any more cold weather until fall, when we will be ready for some cooler weather. We'll be begging for it after a long hot summer. And this is the area that I cleaned out yesterday. I took the rest of the plastic bags off, unless I find one that I overlooked. But it's looking like spring out here today. Looking good. This little window box broke in pieces, and it was sitting right here in this little garden gate planter that my husband and his brother made for me. So I'm going to plan on trying to get another one to put in there and keep that going this spring also. All of this part of the garden is cleaned out. I do, however, still need to check out my water hoses. I turned them on, but I just didn't have time to mess with them and keep trying to clean out the garden, so I turned them off. And I'll try again when I get it cleaned out to have the time to see where some of them are just got some geysers and it's not coming out anyplace else. So I need to get that dealt with, if possible, get it where I can handle it a little bit better than I did last season. And this little post that the cat decor is on, I've got to do something with that too. It is leaning so that just a good rain and it'll fall totally down. I also have my Gorilla Glue out today for when I see things like this, so I can fix this little one up and let it dry there, and then it should last for hopefully all the rest of the season. And this is the area that I'm working on right now, and we'll continue on with it and see how much of it I can get taken care of. There's a lot of old ugly debris everywhere, but hopefully it'll look good by the end of the day. And those beautiful spring blossoms on the peach trees are going away. Please be sure to like and to subscribe to the channel.